You're 5,000 years old, and everyone on earth has an opinion about you. You've been called Canaan, Philistia, Judea, Syria, Palestina, the Holy Land, the Promised Land, the disputed territory. Everyone keeps renaming you. Nobody asks permission. But before all of that, before the arguments and the wars, and the men in suits drawing lines on maps they've never walked on, you were just land. Good land. Rich, dark soil that could grow almost anything. Figs so ripe they split on the branch and dripped sugar into the dirt. Olive groves that stretched across your hillsides in rows so old the trunks had twisted into shapes that looked like they were remembering something. Traders crossed entire deserts just to fill jars with your oil. Your wheat fed kingdoms before those kingdoms even had a flag. Every caravan moving between Egypt and Mesopotamia had to pass through you. There was no other route. You were the hallway between civilizations. Every merchant, every soldier, every diplomat, every scholar heading anywhere in the ancient world walked across your back at some point. Everybody liked what they saw. Some liked it a little too much. See, there's a difference between visiting and owning. And somewhere along the way, people stopped knowing the difference. Canaanites build cities on you first. Jericho goes up. One of the oldest cities humans have ever constructed, right there on your skin. Coastal towns pop up along the Mediterranean. Ports where ships dock carrying copper, tin, cedar wood, and dye made from sea snails that turn cloth purple. You become a crossroads of language, trade, and culture. People speak different tongues on different ends of your body. Temples go up to gods with names that change depending on who you ask. Life is loud and messy and layered, but it's yours. Then the empires come. Assyrians show up first. They don't knock. Babylonians come next and burn what's left. Persians after that, then Greeks. Alexander the Great marched through like he's on a deadline and doesn't plan on staying. Hellenistic culture gets smeared across your surface, like paint nobody requested. Then Romans. You keep getting new landlords, but nobody fixes anything. They just repaint the sign out front and act like they built the place. Every few centuries, someone new rolls through with a bigger army and a different accent telling your people what language to speak. The powerful show up, take what they want, call it civilization, and leave when something shinier catches their eye. But the Romans do something none of the others bother with. They rename you. After a revolt they can't forgive, they wipe Judea off. Stamp Syria Palestina over the top like a correction on a bureaucratic form. That's a new kind of violence. Empires before this just took your crops, your ports, your people. Rome tried to take your name. And here's the thing about erasing a name. You're not just conquering somebody. You're telling the next 1,000 years they were never there. But you're still here. Which means the story is just getting started, and it gets worse. 3 religions show up. Christianity, Islam, Judaism. All of them point at the same dirt and say this is ours. Armies cross entire continents just to fight on top of you. They call them Crusades, holy wars, and each one leaves more blood in your soil than the last. Churches get built over mosques. Mosques get built over temples. Temples get built over ruins that nobody remembers building. Your skin becomes a layered cake of belief systems stacked on top of each other, and every single layer thinks it was here first. Centuries pass, kingdoms rise and crumble. Then the Ottomans move in around 1517 and things finally go quiet. Not free, but quiet. 400 years of something that almost resembles peace if you squint hard enough. Families work your soil the way they always have. Hands passing seeds to smaller hands. Olive trees planted by great-grandparents get harvested by teenagers. They climb the branches barefoot every October and shake the fruit loose into canvas sheets below. Markets open at dawn, and the air fills with the smell of za'atar, dried mint, and coffee roasting slow in copper pots. Women bake bread on stone tabboon ovens in their courtyards, and the warm smell drifts through alleyways so narrow 2 donkeys couldn't pass. Kids chase each other between hanging laundry. Old men sit on low stools and argue about rain and crops. It's not glamorous, but life happens the way it is supposed to happen. Ordinary and layered and passed down like a recipe. Then 1917 happens, and everything falls apart with a single piece of paper. A man named Arthur Balfour sits in an office in London. 67 words. That's all it takes. Promising your land as a national home. He's never set foot on your soil. He writes 67 words, and your entire future gets decided over tea in a building 3,000 miles away. Imagine someone selling your apartment while you're still inside it. Now imagine they've never visited your building. The British move in, immigration picks up, ships arrive at your ports. Families step onto your soil with suitcases and documents. The families already living on you have been here for centuries. They have olive groves with their grandfather's initials carved into the bark. Britain stands in the middle like a landlord who started a fire and then complains about the smoke. Revolts break out. Then in 1947, the United Nations draws a line through your body. Partition. They split you in two. And then 1948, they call it the Nakba, the catastrophe. Over 700,000 people forced from their homes. More than 500 villages wiped off the map, bulldozed, burned, emptied out until nothing stood but foundations and dust. A woman in one village left a pot of lentils on the stove because the soldiers told her she'd be back before dinner. She never came back. The lentils burned. The house burned after that, and almost all of them carried keys. House keys. Front door keys to homes that would be rubble by the time they turned around. It's been over 75 years now, and those keys are still in drawers, wrapped in cloth, hung on walls. And the man who wrote those 67 words? Britain? The country that started all of this? Munab al-Masri was shot by British soldiers when he was a boy. He filed a 400-page petition. The apology is zero. Another war, more land seized. The map gets redrawn again. Settlements start going up on hilltops where olive trees used to stand. Walls go up, not around you, through you. Concrete barriers 8 meters tall slicing through neighborhoods. Checkpoints everywhere. Kids walking to school pass through metal detectors and armed guards. Taps run dry every summer in Palestinian neighborhoods, while the settlement on the hill has sprinklers running on green lawns. Media rolls in when bombs fall. Then the cameras pack up and you're still standing in the rubble wondering where everybody went. They call you complicated. That's the word everyone reaches for when the conversation gets uncomfortable. But what they see isn't complicated. It's land being taken from people who've lived on it for generations. But here's what the cameras never show. Kids still play on your streets. Not because things are fine, because that's what kids do. The olive trees they cut down, they grew back. That's what olive trees do. You can burn one to the stump. Every empire that ever touched you eventually crumbled. The Romans are a museum exhibit. The British Empire shrank back to an island. You're still here. They're not. They keep telling the world you're complicated. You're not. You're just inconvenient. Because every generation born on this soil plants another olive tree. They plant it anyway. You're just old and tired and still here. And the trees still grow.